First Bank, as you rightly mentioned, is the biggest banking institution in Nigeria. We are 117 years old, and we've been at the forefront of infrastructures and project financing in Nigeria. I will take you through just a couple of projects that we financed recently, but it's important to note that we just don't finance large transactions. We are also there for everybody. I'll start with the $432 million road infrastructure project in Lagos. And that's a road, we call it the Lekki-Ekpe Express Road, which links the Lagos part to the emerging part of Lagos, where you have the new port coming up, the new free trade zone coming up. And it's a road that will be tolled, and it's a 50 kilometers road. First Bank was actively involved in this as lead financier, and right now the road is almost completed. Some portions of the road are also already being put to use, and it will open up Lagos for further investments. I would also like to talk about the 12,758 kilometers of fiber optics cable infrastructure, which we call the Main One project, which supplies connection between Europe and West Africa. And that's a $120 million project. By the way, First Bank has a balance sheet of 20 billion US dollars. So that means that financing is not necessarily the problem in terms of infrastructures or mega investments in Africa, particularly in Nigeria. What we found out in recent times also is that because of the attractiveness of the Nigerian market, you now have even foreign institutions, foreign investment bankers are competing with Nigerian investment banks to fund projects. The challenge we've always had is there are no bankable projects, and I don't know why people are scared or afraid to come into Nigeria. And I think it's more of people seeing the opportunities in Nigeria and moving in to take advantage of these opportunities rather than access to financing. For financing, we've been able to work with IFC, AFDB, and so many other foreign institutions to raise the funds. The road projects in Lagos that I just mentioned, we were able to raise $432 million in a 12-year debt instrument. That's historic. And I haven't seen a project that failed in Nigeria simply because we've not been able to put finance on the table. There are so many instruments available today, even if you don't want to put your balance sheet on the table. And there are so many banks who have identified and seen the opportunities in Nigeria that are willing to partner with Nigerian banks. Now, let me tell the story of a multinational institution in MTN that saw the opportunities and decided to take the opportunities in Nigeria. Right now, it has an EBITDA margin of 50% in an environment where you consider to be very risky and high cost. How do you justify that? MTN has today about 35 million phone subscribers. So for me, the challenge is the foreign institutions who are operators should see the advantage in the population in Nigeria, 150 million Nigerians who are eager and who are aggressive to take advantage, and the market is there. I think they need to lower their risk acceptance criteria and see Nigeria as a potential market. And I think Alwyn mentioned the fact that the returns are good. For those who have been able to take the initiative and be bold to come into the Nigerian market, they've never regretted it. My challenge is they've not been truthful also in telling the entire world how nice the Nigerian story is. And I'd like to keep it like that.
You said earlier, the length of investments is very short when you think about it. It's 3 to 5 years. And in reality, for some of these long and big infrastructure projects, you need a decade or you need a lot longer financing terms. What's the thought process around that getting improved?
Now, I think and I think I mentioned it when I spoke, that the foreign institutions, foreign investors need to lower their risk acceptance criteria for Africa. Now, what you saw in the telecom sector in Africa were people and investors who were really ready and willing to be bold and audacious. The opportunities exist not just in telecoms. By virtue of the population of Africa on its own, that on its own is a market. Now, you may say that they are disadvantaged population, the earnings are small, but the reality also is that these are people that are willing to pay for good services. Take power infrastructures, for instance. Nigerians are ready to pay whatever it is to have good power. Because right now, the alternative to power is so much more expensive. It's about 5 times the cost of the tariff that you get in Ghana, which has regular electricity. My challenge is, I think they need to dimension the market very, very well and be willing to come in the risks. It's not about whether the investments are good or not. We need to unveil the entire episode and find out what exactly is the fear factor. What is it that really makes Africa unattractive? Because the returns are good. From whatever we say, the returns are good. Transportation is a good area. Railway network is a very, very profitable area of business. Now, why are these people not looking at it? Nigerians will pay, and we do pay a lot more presently for worse means of transportation. And I guess those are the things we should be asking our leaders to look into. What does it take to encourage them to come and test the market? Because once they come in and test the market, they realize that the returns are in fact better than what they get elsewhere.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.